Welcome back to First Take. The Philadelphia Eagles are in a free fall, losing 3 straight and not in pretty fashion. A 21-point lead slipped away from a division rival against the Cowboys. They were ran all over at home on Black Friday against the Bears, and then they lost on Monday Night Football on an overtime interception against the Chargers. People in Philly, they're mad, and they have been floating, benching their starting quarterback. We reacted to this yesterday, and people were fired up.
Philadelphia is Philadelphia, like Kimberly said. And they're going to tug at you. Fall back for a second. Stop huffing and puffing. And think for this for a second. You really think that the Philadelphia faithful out there is craving for Tanner McKee? Just pause for a second. Jalen Hurts has proven who he is and what he can do. We know that. But
so why are you treating him like he a baby? Why are you treating him like he a baby? The reason why I keep bringing up Jalen Hurts' accolades is because you shouldn't think that you need to pull on this tug on this shirt. He's proven you don't need the tug on this shirt in order to play well.
Dan Orlovsky is here now to join the conversation. We were fired up yesterday about this. Do you think Jalen Hurts is getting overly criticized right now?
I do. I have all year. Yesterday became the dumbest conversation of the NFL season. We had someone ask the head coach of the defending Super Bowl champions if they were going to bench their quarterback. By the way, that quarterback's 4th in the NFL in touchdowns right now. 4th, behind Stafford, Josh Allen, and Dak Prescott. And we're going, should we bench the quarterback? Like he's the only person who's not playing up to their level? Saquon Barkley is one of 2 running backs that have over 50 carries this year that have gone for either no yards or negative yards. Is that because Saquon can't play anymore? Or is it all connected? This offensive line's not playing good enough. There was a predictability. The play calling hasn't necessarily been great, although I thought it was much better on Monday night. There's been a lack of connection with the receivers. 4 interceptions the other night. 2 of them are because of the receivers. And we're asking a guy, and this has become, which again blows my mind. I was probably the most critical person of Jalen Hurts early in his career. He has gone to the playoffs 4 times. He's gone to the Super Bowl twice. He's won the Super Bowl once. And he was the MVP of the Super Bowl. And 10 months later from doing that, we're going, do you think we should bench the quarterback? I believe Jalen Hurts, before Monday night, had thrown 1 interception since October. 1, I think it was on November 1st. And we're saying, should we bench the quarterback? Do you know how stupid of a question that is?
Okay, but your way's from Philadelphia, right?
Yeah.
I mean, don't you know how they are there? Don't you know how that fan base is? But you understand that?
Of course I do. But it still doesn't make any sense. And it's still crazy to have the quarterback in the NFL right now, who's 4th in touchdowns, have his job security in question.
But the world of fandom and media now is not real. The criticism of Jalen Hurts is not only stupid, right, but it's nonsensical.
Yeah.
And it's also not from anyone who has an understanding of what good quarterback play is, of what winning football play is. This is someone who's asking Nick Sirianni a question is because they're listening to things that are outside the realm of people who turn the film on and actually analyze what's going on within this offense in its entirety. Philadelphia fans don't want Jalen Hurts bench. Philadelphia fans wanted to fight you years ago. Philadelphia fans forgot that Cam Newton was 6'6", 250 pounds, and was like, we'd run up on him if we had to. No, you don't want that. Yeah. Right? Just because he wasn't giving Jalen Hurts the credit that was due to him. Did he not play well against the Los Angeles Chargers? Yes. But this hasn't been a Jalen Hurts problem throughout this season for the Philadelphia Eagles. The issues is it's not the touchdown numbers you normally want. The play doesn't look a way that you desire. And the post-game press conferences are vanilla and straightforward and black and white, and they aren't all fun. And so you feel that you need more from Jalen Hurts. There is no quarterback that has taken his team to the playoffs the way that Jalen Hurts is that should be criticized. There's no quarterback in the world that would ever be criticized after playing the way that he has in not 1, but 2 Super Bowls versus the best quarterback in the world. When you hear all of this nonsense about Jalen Hurts, it's because people don't know what it's supposed to look like to be able to win and not do it in a way that appeases you. It's truly, truly foolish.
If they can nip and tug away at you to get something out of you that they believe that they have seen before, they're going to try to do it. And the one thing that despite his excellence for the most part that Jalen Hurts has shown, he's at his best when adverse circumstances are created. They're looking at a man. The Philadelphia Eagles have committed 9 turnovers over their last 3 games after committing just 4 their first 10 games. He's committed 7 of them. We know that A.J. Brown was complaining about things with the offense. Suddenly, he's being targeted 35 times over that period, 24 receptions, 18 first downs, 342 yards. The brother is balling, and they're still losing. What I'm saying to you is that the Philadelphia Eagle fan base, is it crazy as that question may have been, you do have a situation where they'll view a 3-game losing streak, particularly one that involved the Dallas Cowboys coming back from a 21-0 deficit to beat them. And they saying, what do we do? What do we have to do to light a fire under these dudes? Because, damn it, what's going on ain't working because Sirianni ain't doing anything about it. Patullo ain't doing anything about it. We got a problem. That's a Philadelphia fan base. There's nobody with sense that would think for 1 second that Jalen Hurts is going to find himself on a bench in favor of Tanner McKee and get himself benched because of the Eagles' troubles. But what you do is you do what you can if you're in that business and in that city to light a fire under them, particularly when the star quarterback, who's the reigning Super Bowl MVP, shows you that the more you tug on his cape, the more he elevates. That's all that's going on
but
here.
That's not
There's
true.
nothing else that's going on here.
That's not true because Jalen Hurts is the one quarterback in the world I truly believe, and there are some outside of him that does not care what we say. There is no tugging on his cape. He just goes about his work the way he goes about his work to excel as much as he possibly can. Nobody tugged on his cape.
So what happened last year, RC, when he went and showed out and he came in the press conference and he said, "Is that what y'all wanted to see?"
Because he
an
understands.
historical running offense, and the focus was this run game, and I don't mean to cut you off, but like this run game, and it was, well, why are they running
his ability to throw the football? And he went out there and showed them.
No, if you remember, A.J. Brown was doing the same thing last year that he was this year, which caused people in the media to ask questions of Jalen Hurts. And so he was answering those questions. He plays well, and he says, okay, this time, now you can't ask me that because I gave you what you wanted.
And I would also say this, Jalen Hurts is playing better this year than he was last year. Last year was the year that he had more questionable performances than this year.
I was only answering RC's assertion that he doesn't care. You can't tug on his cape because he doesn't care and he doesn't react to it. I'm saying he does hear it and he does react. It's just in a very positive and productive way. There are levels that Jalen Hurts has proven he can take his game to when times call for it. He's proven that. Y'all have said that. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, there's no question about it, Stephen A., but you're saying that, like, the media in Philly, and I don't know who asked it, and I agree, it's just a dumb question. You're saying they asked it because they're trying to fire the team up?
I'm saying to you, when you're doing talk radio, when you're writing columns in Philadelphia, I did both. Yeah, when you're doing that kind of stuff, all right, I'm making the point to you that, you know what? Damn it, this ain't good enough, and you want to get in somebody's you know what because you want to peel whatever greatness they have in them outside of them. I know for a fact that reporters, columnists, radio hosts, etc., all do that. Yo, bro, you got to play better. Yo, you got to do X, Y, and Z. I'm going to get on you about this. Come on now. You got to give us more than that because we've seen you do it and you know we know you can do it. I'm saying it's not beyond the pale to believe that people in the media in the city of Philadelphia will do that. I know it because I've seen them do it. I worked there for 17 years. I've seen them do it.
Okay, and you obviously have the experience, so I'm not going to dispute it. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense to do that to a dude that has the 4 playoffs, the 2 Super Bowls, the Super Bowl MVP, and has played his best football in the biggest moments. I would also say this. Part of the conversation or part of the problem is this, is like, what does everybody want from Jalen as a player? That's a huge thing is everybody sits there and says, and I put my hand up, I have been the most critical person of Jalen Hurts as a player from the moment he became the starter. But what does everybody want him to be, or who does everyone want him to be? No, he's not going to be Lamar Jackson, and he's not going to be Josh Allen, and he's not going to be Matthew Stafford. That's not the style of player. When they went to the Super Bowl 3 years ago, he wasn't that style of player. That's not his brand of ball. But the question is, when you as the organization put what's needed around him, is he good enough to play at an MVP level and win the Super Bowl? The answer is unequivocally yes. And so if the question, is he being overly criticized? Absolutely. He's 10 months removed from winning freaking MVP of the Super Bowl.
That's fine to say. And go ahead, RC. I'm sorry. Go ahead, RC. Go ahead, RC.
The thing is, too, though, when you ask, is he overly criticized, he was also the lightning rod for every quarterback conversation this offseason after winning the Super Bowl MVP. It wasn't like he got a break. It wasn't like people sat up here and praised him and talked about how well he played in that game or the way that he showed up throughout the playoffs. It was why he wasn't a top 10 quarterback. What else they needed to see from him. And so Dan's question is fair. What is it that Jalen Hurts could do to be no one's above the criticism, but for the criticism to match the accolades? Right? Like when we see Patrick Mahomes go out, obviously to me he's the best in the game right now. When we see him go out and have a game of 3 interceptions and no touchdowns, no media member in Kansas City is going to ask that question.
It's a different city.
When Josh Allen plays against Atlanta in primetime, has 2 interceptions and you lose to that team, or when he throws 2 more in 2 weeks, nobody's going to ask that question. Lamar Jackson hasn't played well this entire season. We believe he's banged up. You're not going to ask that question. And when you say Lamar Jackson and when you say Joe Burrow and when you say Josh Allen, even though we see as individually better players, more productive, more successful, none of them have Super Bowl rings. None of them has played as well as he did on the biggest level. And so it doesn't make sense that he is criticized in this manner, even though he's not above criticism based on what film says.
Well, when you're talking about Jalen Hurts, you may have a very valid point about Jalen Hurts specifically. But in the same breath, we're looking at a Philadelphia Eagles team that's the reigning defending Super Bowl champions, that has looked like a shell of themselves for the better half of this season, that's in the midst of a 3-game losing streak. Now, there are other elements to bring into consideration. You've given up 585 yards rushing on the ground over the last 3 years. You've only rushed for 284. You're wondering about the production of a Saquon Barkley. What happened to him compared to last year? You're looking at Lane Johnson being out, but in the same breath, you're saying, damn, that can't be the only reason. You're looking at A.J. Brown that was clamoring for the football. Well, he's been getting the football over the last 3 games, and they've still lost. You're looking at Kevin Patullo, the offensive coordinator, and clearly there's a drop-off from Kellen Moore. You're looking at all of those things, and there's an abundance of reasons to point to as to why the Eagles are losing. But in the same breath, you also think about the greatness you saw from a Jalen Hurts in the Super Bowl, the greatness you saw from him in the playoffs. And even though it was the greatness of Saquon Barkley that also propelled them, where they were running the football significantly more than they were passing the football, when they did pass, Jalen Hurts showed up. This year, they're running over the last 3 games, rushing the ball 60 times, passing the ball 113 times, but they're still losing. People are looking for answers. You too might have it because of what you know, but damn it, you're here. And most people are here. And y'all are sitting up there and acting like, oh my God, what sense do they make? Damn it, they don't know what you know. What are they supposed to do? You're looking at the team and you see a bunch of collapses all over the damn place. And what you're looking for is the savior at the quarterback position that comes to the rescue and shows you he can rise above that because he's that dude. Why? Because y'all have repeatedly said he's that dude. But then all of a sudden when they say, well, if he's that dude, why hasn't he been that dude? Dan and RC, whose knowledge is here to people who are here, oh, now they're just nonsensical. Really?
No.
Come on,
and I know we got to. No,
you got to know that.
Stephen A.
You got to know that.
Stephen A. This goes back to the point of who you want him to be. There's not that many that
They
dudes.
want him to win.
They
want him to win.
Just what the freaking
You guys have to
He's
understand,
lost 3 games.
They had 300 yards run on them by the Bears. You want to play linebacker too?
I just finished explaining all of that. I don't need to be repetitive. I'm making the point. They're losing games, and when they're losing games, who are you going to look at?